Yo, what is good, my quick crypto family and Coin Factory family? Welcome back once again to another live stream. It's been a very hectic week for me, as you can see. Doing some renovations, just finished painting all the walls in my newly to be converted studio. Still waiting for some furniture to arrive. So the room might be a little bit echoey today and throughout this week, but that shouldn't be too much of an issue going forward as well. Nice to finally get this done. Either way, family, welcome back. I apologize for the lackluster streams and even quality of streams over the last 3-4 days or so, but we are back on the usual setup. Everything should be good from this point forwards, and we're going to be picking up off where we left off on Saturday. Diving a little bit deeper into the KII, the partners they have, the companies therefore that are likely looking very closely at Kaspa, amongst what started all of this, which is Tom Polinsky and his calling out, well, what started this current momentum, if you will, on Kaspa, being Tom Polinsky's calling out of Binance Exchange, amongst some other big developments, like the fact the government shutdown should be ending sometime this week. All of that and more to get into in today's stream, family. So as always, if you enjoy the content, try to do this daily, leave a like, share with your friends, subscribe for more, turn on that post notification bell so you know when I do go live. This stream won't cover too much of my premium alpha documentation, despite the fact I did do my executive roundtable earlier today, which I still need to upload actually. But it'll still cover a lot of insightful information regarding Kaspa, which is of course our main holding. And it might hear some dabbles here and there from other projects, hearing some big things about XRP, about ETF filings. Zebek apparently has got a Coinbase listing on the horizon. But that being said, family, welcome back once more. Hopefully you are having a good day and you had a great weekend. We've got Baby Daddy back here. Welcome back, bro. First for the very first time, just like a virgin. Fair play, brother. Welcome back. Coswallop and all that. Welcome back, Kryptoni. First, just missing out, but actually in saying that, Mr. Mars will be first every time, then I don't see why you can't hide the brother. Welcome back, my man. Nessie, I think Jay has already started buffering the stream. Fair play. Hold my hand up to there. I deserve that. Fair play, brother. Well, welcome back, LB, on the check-in, bro. You're doing very, very well. Busy, 69th. Welcome back, brother. You're doing very well. Let's go, Kaspa, indeed. Yo, Falcon, man. It's been a minute. How you doing? Brett, good evening to you too. And Bufflink, 100%, bro. Welcome back. And indeed, if you enjoy the content, leave a like, share with your friends, subscribe for more. You know the deal. And welcome back as well, Greg. Hopefully you all had a great day. So, where were we and where are we right now? So as we look at the market chart, Bitcoin is currently at 105, almost $106,000. It is currently trying to test this next level of resistance here, which hopefully we can see it break into like it did earlier, but end breaking into it and the daily candle inside it, which would be a reassuring development, hoping therefore that we'll see Bitcoin continue in the momentum. While the title does state that, are we only up from here? Are things looking good right now? At the bottom in. If the bottom in just yet, we could come to the conclusion it's probably the case, but as anything, we have to wait and see how the developments take place, right? Because while we have the government shutdown coming to an end, which is fantastic, and we'll get to why in a short moment, the markets are unpredictable, and you could see the market leaders use this momentum, use this announcement as a catalyst to dump on our heads. But either way, right now, Bitcoin is doing well, up 1.2%. Ethereum, not so much, down 0.5%, but again, I'm sure it's only temporary. What we are seeing, though, is we're seeing Bitcoin dominance starting to, again, rally a little bit more out of control, currently just short of 60%. And I am currently under you might see this dominance fall off a little bit with the release of ETF filings that'll be coming through, for your XRP, your Solanas, your Cardanos, HBARs, and many more. You might see the dominance fall off a little bit, but I do anticipate Bitcoin dominance probably gaining some more momentum. If we get above this trend line again, that would be quite interesting. But as it stands right now, I'm not so sure if it will happen. If it does, then expect a massive rally in Bitcoin and alts again to still be lackluster. But I do think that there's more room left to go in the market. If we look at Kaspa right now, Kaspa was struggling. It still is, of course, but Kaspa was struggling a lot. And because of Sompolinsky, and I can say because of Sompolinsky and him taking his stance, for the good of the community, to stand up for what crypto was originally meant to be, calling out Binance Exchange, the biggest exchange in the world, who act like every other market maker, just a way to make money quickly. They don't care about the integrity of crypto. Calling them out, Kaspa saw a lot of momentum off the back of that post, up about 20% from that. And now it's holding around the zone at 5.3 cents, up roughly 2.5% on the daily time frame. And hopefully we see it continue in this fashion. We've got some updates to get through in that regard. Welcome back, Wing Hong Wee Moon yet? Not yet, but hopefully we might see some bullish momentum starting to form in the coming days or so. Although I'm still not convinced that November will be as explosive as people seem to believe. The government shutdown ending could lead to that. If, again, the government shutdown ending is good, but it's only good if the data, the macro reports that will therefore be able to start coming out because of the government shutdown ending, if they do tell us exactly what we had anticipated, which is we are in a crisis, you need to see the Fed print more money, basically. We'll get to that in a moment, though. Welcome back, Riley. You're doing very, very well. Busy, stimmy checks. Seems possible, seems likely, coming through soon enough. Can you speak with Cockney accent, please? I don't even know how to do one, so no. Cast ETFs when Gov reopens? Very unlikely. We have got an ETP with Valor Funds, so we do already have some of that exposure, if you will. But it's unlikely we'll get an ETF filing. I wouldn't be necessarily opposed to one, but I also don't believe we need one, especially at this current point where we're still, fundamentally in crypto, let alone Kaspa, still extremely early. ETFs are not bullish. Every crypto ETF has led to initial dumps. I mean, it depends. ETFs as a general concept is bullish because it's, a market, therefore, that's being open for institutional adoption into the asset. So it's overall bullish. It does, therefore, negate, it kind of generates more control for the 1% who then could just buy through ETFs. It is ultimately bullish, but it again, no matter what development it is, there's always good and bad, right? Even Binance listing would generally be perceived as bullish for Kaspa, but of course there is the understanding that you'd see probably a dump very soon, beforehand or after the launch, and then you see the price maybe move up afterwards. Litecoin and other coins got ETFs and they're not moving. What's going on? Because there's so much uncertainty right now. There is so much uncertainty. The government shutdown has not ended just yet. We just come off the back of one of the worst Octobers we have seen since 2018, with the biggest liquidation event in crypto history, plus more uncertainty from Jerome Powell's hawkish stance from the Fed, and the government the tariffs with the Supreme Court. So there's still a lot of uncertainty. That's why we're not seeing them, shoot up. Once there's more clarity, you'll see that ETFs act as for the catalyst for more volatility and more price adoption. Did you see CG's love-hate Kaspa vid? I'm in Kaspa because of him, really, but he honestly is self-obsessed. It's all about him not getting recognition from the devs for his services to Kaspa. I have not watched the video. I did mention, or try to mention at least, in my live stream on Saturday about the post I made, which was actually in response to CG's Tao video, which I will cover again now that you can see my face. You can see the emphasis in my voice, or the emphasis on my facial structure. I did talk about that because in this video, I didn't listen to the whole thing because I didn't want to. When I heard the first minute, and then I heard at 1:05 him saying it's hard to catch narratives because you don't know when they're going to happen. Sure, yes, that is in regards true. It might be hard to catch narratives. How I know what the narratives are isn't hard if you do enough research, and doing enough in-depth research will also give you clues on when it's going to happen as well. Again, not everything, but majority of things can be solved if you do research. That's why I take pride in the research that I do. I've covered numerous documents in this community on the live streams, and equally a lot more in my VIP group, from interviews with Citibank talking about seeing institutional money seeing regulatory clarity in the next 6 to 9 months. That's Q2, Q3 2026. McKinsey, one of the leading institutions, report validates the need for decentralized high-performance infrastructure and specialized AI projects for banks. That's the post that I made in response on a Tao video myself as well. And equally, KPMG, one of the big four accounting firms, reported that many fintech investors have been cautious this year, but the narratives that they've been wanting to look into and been very bullish on have been digital assets and have been AI, as we can see right here. So while CG is not incorrect in saying this, it's the way it was, at least when I watched it, was portrayed was just, it's a kind of all to get lucky kind of thing. You've got to find the right thing and get lucky. It's not. It's not. If you do enough research, you know what you're talking about. I guess everything in life probably is luck, but if you have knowledge and you keep turning up, the chance of you getting lucky significantly increases, which is why I just said as well at the end of it, be cautious, family, about who you listen to. Start following people who know their facts, which I by no means am in the top 1% guru, but I'm someone who knows to do research. It's something I've taken pride in, something I learned from the last cycle, which is why I made a VIP community that is focusing on, trying to really level up their investing game with information like this, with trade alerts as well. We actually onboarded a new trader over the weekend called Lambo or Ledger. So hopefully he'll be another additive benefit to our community. We've got 2 traders in there now. So I'm going to keep trying to leveling up more and more and more, and hopefully keep generating more profits as well from that. But I'll come back to that later on either way. To get into the actual point about CG's video on Kaspa, I did not watch it. I don't care to watch it, if I'm honest. I understand CG's character, in my perspective, quite well. He got in on early on Kaspa, and he was a great part of raising awareness about the project. Fantastic. I have utmost respect for him to doing that. How he migrated from there into how his community is right now, equally, I have some respect for it, because business-wise, it was smart. He went to meme coins where the market was popping, especially in the mid 2024 to late 2024. That was a big bubble that bursted. It was huge. So he did very well there. So as that respect, in that regard, then I can only pat my hands to him. Everything else, I don't need to talk on. I don't want to talk on for potential repercussions or legal reasons or whatever it may be. But we understand what I'm going to get at either way. I haven't watched his video on Kaspa. I don't think I need to. The fact that the fact that he feels that he should be receiving recognition from devs for his service for Kaspa. And what does that mean to Kaspa Silver, or to Wolfie, or to myself? We're nowhere near as big as CG. We may not have found Kaspa as early or made content on Kaspa as early as CG did. But you don't see any of us asking for recognition, because we understand that we're not owed it. But that be it as it may, what can you do, right? It's already been priced in. These have never known to have incoming ETF forever. I'm sorry, I'm completely gone to a different topic right now, talking about the ETFs again. They aren't positive catalysts. They've already been priced in. They have been known to have incoming ETFs forever. I mean, you again, short term, you're not incorrect. I agree. Again, I don't disagree that short term ETFs aren't really that bullish. Although saying that, Bitwise, First Return 21 shares, and Canary Capital and CoinShares XRP ETFs are now listed on the DTC's platform. So they are, here, and XRP is currently up 7.89%. So ETFs do have an effect. I'm not saying it is not as bullish as people tend to perceive it to be. In the grand scheme of things, it is because it's more recognition and adoption of crypto. But in terms of the idea that big good news means price go up is just terrible. I don't like that sentiment, and that's what the information that I covered to my VIPs talks about. Price is a distraction. The price will come once you see the infrastructure being built and the adoption come through, but it doesn't mean you're going to see FOMO. We're not in 2021. FOMO candles are a thing of the past now. I bought some Wolfie yesterday. Oh, love to hear that, baby daddy. I really, really do, of course. I do occasionally talk about it. Actually, speaking of which, I am actually I'm actually wearing the Wolfie shirt again today. I can't lie. With the camera for it. There. Wearing it again today. I like the shirt. The shirt's good quality, but wow, the market cap for these tokens have really fallen off, which is crazy. In the premise, if and obviously in our belief, when Kaspa does take off and come back, these will more than likely rally in suit if they can keep up. Of course, a lot of them might struggle because they've been suppressed for so long, and a lot of them might have just sort of failed in their projects. I think I wholeheartedly believe Wolfie is one of the strong ones, one of the very, very strong ones that will do very, very well when the market recovers. That's just my belief. By no means don't buy into it because I said so. I'm not a financial advisor, but I think Wolfie's got a lot going on for it. And I'm going to be going to the London Tokenized event at the beginning of December, which I'm hoping to end up interacting with some of the people there for the first time, which would be, it'd be an experience, I'm sure. Some political will be there as well, I've heard, so I'm looking forward to that. Wolfie is a KRC20 project. They have... It's technically, actually not even technically, it is a real world asset because Wolfie is used at their store, their bar, Wolfie's bar in London. They've got more being built. I think they've got another one in South Africa, either in the process of being built or it is built. Or either way, they're expanding either way from what I have heard. And yeah, I mean, Wolfie, they're a real world asset. And I mean, those who again know me, I don't hate memes. I used to hate memes. I don't hate memes. I see the value in them, but I'm much more a believer of assets that I think will do well in the future, some that have actual utility. If you've got utility, you'll do well, be it a governance token, be it a real world asset. You have utility, you have use case. Wolfie for me is one of those. CG is a word that rhymes with MAGA. Fair enough, brother. Welcome back, Double D, bro. You did very, very well, my man. I don't understand why government shutdowns doesn't moon cryptos. The entire point of crypto is to avoid government. Because, okay, you know what? That's a great part to segue into this. So, as we can read on here, apparently the Senate has reached a deal to end the government shutdown. There's a whole point made in here in this article from Eleanor Terrett talking about the fact that on Sunday night, to invoke cloture on a motion to proceed with the funding measures to reopen the government after reaching a bipartisan deal that could end the longest US shutdown in history. That's what happened, and it did actually come through 60-40, which is the exact number. They need to get 60 at least, so they managed to reach that, meaning the government shutdown should be coming to an end fairly soon. Same thing happened to the Genius Act back in the day. You could have reached 60, needed to break the weeks-long stalemate, which happened. Crypto markets got a boost after the news of the Senate's deal, which we did see on the Sunday. Not that I was present for Sunday, but you did see on Sunday, Bitcoin did make a rally up about 2-3% in value. Yeah, about 2-3% in value here on the Sunday because of that news. The reopening of the government also paves the way for a potential surge of activity from the SEC, basically meaning they can start actively approving ETF filings, which have been very much delayed due to the government shutdown, alongside also meaning the Senate banking and agricultural committees would, in theory, schedule markups for the respective market structure bills, though neither have yet released the necessary text. So basically, you can see the progression of the market structure bill as well. So those are two things that have been delayed due to the government shutdown. But here's the more important part, right? With the last week's rate cuts, which we saw, actually it was almost 2 weeks ago now. It was 12 days ago. 12 days ago, we saw the rate cuts rate cuts come through another 25 basis point cut and the end of the Fed's balance sheet reduction, the quantitative tightening. The Fed's reverse repo facility, RRP, is now depleted and the Treasury cash balance, TGA, has grown to $1 trillion. So to highlight all these informational points right now. The reason why the government shutdown hasn't caused crypto to moon is because crypto, like everything else, is a financial market. I know it's meant to avoid government control, though that's not happening really. Only Kaspa's the one doing that and still trying to do that to give true self-sovereignty. But it's a financial market. It acts the same way every other financial market does, which is money goes in, assets pump, money comes out, asset dump. With the government shutdown, the Fed have struggled to know how to navigate, and whether they want to be more hawkish or more dovish, or they want to basically hint more at quantitative easing or quantitative tightening. Because of the government shutdown, they've had little to no macro reports, be it inflation reports, job reports, PMI, all these future forward-looking indicator reports. They've had little to none of them because they have no one employed to do it. It's a government shutdown right now. And with the reverse repo, which is how much money the banks have in the reserve, if that dwindling and depreciating more and more and more, there's a lack of liquidity, a lack of money in the US economy. So because of that, there's not much money to be put into crypto or anything for that matter. So if people are worried, they're uncertain, they're not going to put it into a high risk, high reward, risk on financial market in crypto right now. At least not as much as we like to believe. With the government shutdown as well, with the Treasury cash balance, TGA, growing continuously, which is fantastic, 1 trillion is great. Because the government shutdown, this money cannot move either. So you have the Fed balance sheet dwindling more and more and more. They're now ending that December 1st, which is fantastic, but it's dwindling more and more. You have the money in the Treasury cash balance that is also not able to be injected into the economy. So you just got a lack of liquidity, a lack of money backing it. Therefore, you have no money to put into crypto. Now, with the government shutdown potentially ending, I'm hearing some speculation apparently going to be on Thursday, which would be great. That would mean that this liquidity here would then have the freedom to gradually, but hopefully, inevitably inject into the markets, into crypto. A Fed ending QT also will be reassuring. You then see the macro reports come back out as well, meaning the Fed then will have more clarity on whether they need to be more dovish because the job market is in shambles, or more hawkish because the job market actually is doing better than we expect. Although I'm fairly sure it is the former because AI has been on the rise significantly recently, and therefore there's been more layoffs, therefore more unemployment, therefore the Fed's got to be more dovish to combat that. That's why that is a robust cache of fiscal quantitative easing waiting to be deployed. I'm not sure why the TGA is so high, but I'm sure Treasury Scott Bessent has a reason. So the long and short of that is rate cuts. We're still seeing QT is ending, the RRP is drained, the TGA is filled. Once the government shutdown comes to an end, which is hopefully going to be soon, it won't be a God candle. We've got to get that mentality out of our heads. But it will be a catalyst to start seeing more liquidity coming into the economy, into the financial markets that could benefit crypto as well, especially on the back of seeing more ETFs coming out, seeing more regulatory frameworks coming out. It's also going to, again, you're going to see the market structure bill probably start getting more progression as well. So it's ultimately a very, very good thing for this to be happening. It's been a long, month and a bit, October being terrible, government shutdown adding to the uncertainty, but it coming to an end is reassuring, no doubt. If you only got one last month this month, what coin do you choose from? Not financial advice, of course, Kaspa. I don't necessarily believe, not financial advice, of course, that Kaspa will be the best performing crypto of December. In the way I have perceived your question, Buff, is with there being 1 month left of the year, which asset do you think could be best performing? You're talking about you only got one last month to buy for this bull cycle in general, then what do you pick? I pick Kaspa just because I believe in the project wholeheartedly. The project that's going to be the best performing, based on the research that I've done and what I spoke to with my VIPs, is likely going to be infrastructure tokens, which Kaspa is one of those, but ones that are probably already higher standing. So your tokenization projects, real world asset projects, be it your Ondus, be it your quants, whatever it may be, then they're going to perform probably quite well in regards of guaranteed, quote unquote, not financial, more guaranteed gains, not massive multipliers because they're quite big mid to large cap tokens. Zebek is one that I think will do quite well, and that's a small cap, so that could see a more significant multiplier. And then AI, no doubt. AI is going to be huge. Tao's a great shout, and I believe there are many others as well that I'm looking into. I'm going to be talking about my VIPs as well. I think Tao's fantastic. You can see here, I think Virtual, I mean, people spoke about Virtual also. Virtual's a great one. If you know why, in regards to AI agents, Virtual is going to be huge, I think. And ones that are similar to Virtual also are probably in a similar spot. So, but even then, I still would say Kaspa. I still would say that whether Kaspa will be the best performing in the next couple of months, tough to say. I'm going to probably say no, unless I'm pleasantly surprised. But one that I have the most conviction in and will continue to stack is Kaspa, because I have, if there's going to be any project to surprise me in regards to like price action exploding, it's going to be Kaspa. No doubt. No doubt it's going to be Kaspa. Everything else, I'm like, yeah, okay, it should do well. I don't trust it, but it should do well. But Kaspa, if it does well, I'm like, I mean, it's about time. It's been needed to do well for a while, and it makes sense. It's just a matter of time, you know. CG is a interesting character, I'll say that much. Wolfie is a meme coin. Jay brags about almost as much as his sources. It's not a meme coin. I mean, it is. It's KRC20, and a lot of the KRC20 projects are memes. But technically, it's not. But like, for example, like Slow. No disrespect to Slow at all. Slow, of course, was birthed from Son Polinsky's interview with Vlad, and he talked about his turtle being called Slow, or Bitcoin, or I think it was Bitcoin. That token is a meme. There's no utility behind it, to my knowledge. It's just a meme on Son Polinsky's turtle. That's fantastic. And you've got projects I think are in quite similar boats. I'm not going to name drop any because I don't have enough information at hand to know if they are just simply memes or they've got actual use case or not. The one that I do know that has some use case is Nacho, in regards to their connection to other ecosystems and how they're used, and the fact that like they're also one responsible for holding, I think, the treasury for Zeal as well. So Nacho's got some utility in that regard, and also Wolfie. But again, I haven't done too much research into KRCs. These are the only two that I've actually looked into, and I thought they were worth me looking into. I do plan to look into more of them, but these two, Wolfie and Nacho, are the ones that I currently hold. And they started off as kind of memes, KRC20s, and they've kind of matured into more. Unfortunately, with the price of Kaspa being so far down, the market's being terrible, all these tokens have also significantly come back down in value as well. And in regards to Brett and PG talking on CG about, you know, whether he's a scammer or whether he's clueless, I mean, you can be both. I'm not going to talk too much on it because this is a QC Coin Factory stream, not CG. Although there's no wrong in talking about it, but there's evidence of both. I mean, you've seen the evidence of Kurt on base with CG, so being both is equally possible. And yes, I mean, I still vividly remember the clip of him not knowing what the crescendo update was, which, I mean, it says a lot, right? You didn't really have to be massively involved in the Kaspa community to know what crescendo update for Kaspa meant. And he thought it was a symphony thing, which I thought was quite crazy, considering that you claim to be the kind of focal point, the man with deserving recognition of Kaspa. You didn't know what crescendo was. That says quite a lot. People that I ask what's going on with the price don't care what's going on. They just want easy money. To be good investors, you have to be patient. Completely right, Rizzy. 100%. 100%. I mean, whether he is a noob with crypto is opinions, because I mean, the guy did, before his channel got banned, he did have like 70 odd thousand subscribers, and he, you know, raked in a lot of views. So I wouldn't say, I think he has his business strategy that works for him, which is meme coins, and that's fine. He knows what works for him, and he leverages that, and he continues making, you know, his business work for him. That's perfectly fine. I won't knock him as a businessman. In regard to his morals, that's something else entirely, but he's done well. You know, you got to give respect where respect's due. He has done well for himself. You haven't got to like the guy. I'm not saying that I do or don't. I'm not making an opinion on him. I'm just stating the facts. Is it true the UK is collapsing fast? It's probably not something I should be speaking on. I know there's a lot of issues. Well, a lot of control grab power issues in the UK, but I can speak. In fact, I made a post on that earlier, just in a kind of joking sense. You know, where it was Bank of England to limit stablecoin holding to $20,000, £20,000 even. So you're not allowed to have more than that. And I'm just like, you know what? I prefer not to speak. So I do. I'll be in big trouble because like they're just trying to stop people from being able to gain that capital. I mean, it's just how centralization works, how they remain in control. They just limit your ability to break the system, right? Luck of an opportunity meets preparation. That's exactly the words I was looking for, 100%. That's an interesting one, sure. Luck doesn't exist, bad luck is poor planning. Yeah, I mean, that's effectively what it is. The way I perceive luck is literally, luck is a concept that exists, but it exists on the premise of you can generate your own luck. Like, luck is the word people have used because they haven't got luck's the word people use because they don't understand why something's happening. So they choose the word luck, saying that they couldn't have foreseen it and they couldn't have prepared for it, when in actuality, enough insight would have let you prepare for it, be it good or bad luck. That's why, you know, for me, like, again, in regards to this community I have right now, all of you here being here, beautiful, lovely community, I would say I'm quite lucky. I'm blessed for having that. But it wasn't out of just pure randomness. It was my own dedication, volition to continue turning up, to get people who want to listen to me. So I generated my own luck. But yeah, before we get into more questions, because I have been answering for quite a while now and I missed quite a few still, but let's get into some content now because I have literally been half an hour of just a bit of macro, a bit of fundamental Q&A. Let's get into the actual Kaspa content. So the first post here comes from the Kaspa report, right? Talking about the potential that we may have bottomed with Kaspa. Again, this is all speculation. There's no guarantee of that just yet. Kappa is at 5.3 cents, up 2%, which is nice. You could argue this was the bottom, and I would like to believe that if the case, but hey, anything can happen right now. Until Kaspa breaks above 13 cents, I'm not gonna, even 12, I might even say 12 cents, because 12 cents was its previous peak. If Kaspa breaks above 12 cents, then I'll be like, yeah, okay, that was the bottom. Until then, Kaspa can go back up to 9, come back down more. Right now, it's purely based on Bitcoin and what happens in this market right now. It's too tough to call. We are seeing some momentum, some positive catalysts starting to come out. We'll have to wait and see where it comes from here. But either way, Kaspa reports highlights here. Kaspa price may have bottomed, but more importantly, against Bitcoin. This chart shows Kaspa's price denominated in Satoshis, the smallest unit of Bitcoin, from Kaspa's Genesis block to the present, which you can see right here. There's a little visual here, which again is showing that maybe Kaspa has reached this bottom point right now. So as we read on more, the price time series appears to be forming a major log scale bull flag pattern closely resembling that one Bitcoin formed against the US dollar during its early years. This pattern may indicate that Kaspa may not only appreciate against fiat currency, but also against Bitcoin in the years ahead, which he made a more detailed thread about that here. Again, I'm pretty sure this was actually showcased to me in my Free Discord community, so if you're not a part of that, the Free Discord community, links are down below in the description, also on the homepage right here as well. Just check in, tune in and learn more about crypto and Kaspa. It's been very, very active as of late, and people have learned quite a lot, be it from Kaspa, be it from Fundamental, being it from Cody and insight in regards to the general US economy. People are, and I think it's quite a knowledgeable group that we've got there. And again, of course, increased insights, in-depth insights, premium insight in the VIP, but we'll talk about that later on as well. But it's posted already in there. If not, I'll be posting it in there anyway, so you can tune in for yourself. But the belief, therefore, is possible that on October 25th, that marked the cyclical bottom for Kaspa. October 10th, 2025, when Kaspa dropped to 1 cent, briefly dipped below 10 Satoshis before rebounding sharply and closing the month near 50 Satoshis. The current quarterly candlestick appears to be taking the form of a bullish hammer. Although it's still too early to confirm this pattern, should the formation be validated, it will represent the third consecutive bullish reversal candlestick on this time frame. This prolonged reversal formation suggests that once the next sustained upward trend begins, it could persist for an extended period, potentially lasting until Bitcoin's next halving. Now that would be insane, and I'm not gonna hold my breath on that, but if that is the case, in the premise that once the next uptrend is confirmed, Kaspa will continue outperforming Bitcoin and rallying until net Bitcoin's next halving, which is in 2029. That would be unbelievable stuff if that was to pan out. Such an outcome would be expected only if Kaspa exhibited monetary characteristics superior to those of Bitcoin, and thus would reflect that Kaspa is superseding Bitcoin as a dominant monetary system and distributed ledger technology. So, in short of that, Kaspa could outperform Bitcoin and rally for the next 3 years, even through the bear cycle, in the premise that all the macro monetary developments are in favor of crypto adoption, and also with Bitcoin continuing to rally more and more, adopting more in Bitcoin. But then Kaspa is widely and increasingly perceived as actually scalable Bitcoin, so therefore the better form of money by everybody, not just by institutions, but actually, speaking of which, institutions are taking note. So next part comes back full circle to Saturday, building off on everything that started from Jonathan Sompolinsky. His long post of Binance now has got 2.3 million views in 4 days. And it reached 2 mil, I think, in 3. 2.5 million views. From purely an educator, a crypto addict, a research associated with 37,000 followers. Yeah, it's insane. Absolutely insane stuff for Sompolinsky there to get such engagement. And it's no surprise at the same time, because he is someone who's been there since Bitcoin's inception. He was there helping in the conception and building and maturing nature of Bitcoin and the coding and whatnot. He was there. He was early. He's also, Kaspa's here because he wanted to introduce certain protocols and elements into Bitcoin that the general community, they didn't want to do. They didn't want a hard fork. They didn't want to do that. So he went somewhere else. He learned more. He introduced a ghost tag and he created Kaspa. At least that's the rough understanding of how it goes about. We made this long post just 4 days ago in regards to saying, thank you, Binance, for, I won the award. Thank you for the opportunity, but I'm not coming because I don't really like you guys. I think you guys have the ability to be great in regards to everything crypto and finance, but you've only gone for money. You launch frogs. You have no care about crypto, about wires. You don't give any validation towards Bitcoin, right? And it's terrible. 2.3 million views, and that started the price appreciation for Kaspa recently, and also the snowball effect we've been seeing as of late. The KRI have been dropping some bombshells, and I've been too busy to do anything about it, so I apologize in regard to making videos. But tomorrow there should be a video on Kaspa. I've got a lot to cover. I'm making a video going through the Sompolinsky post for Binance and what it could mean. Some big stuff from KRI. Honestly, that might be a 2-part video. There's so much to unpack from the KRI and what they have done. We'll go through some of it this stream though. So basically, there's been a massive calling out war, if you will, against the exchanges from the general crypto community. Mexi was the first biggest target of that as of recent because of the withholding of funds and accusations of illegal activity from the white whale, which Mexi apologized for and have been trying to damage control since then. And the individual, Cecilia, I think her name was, who has been kind of the front and center of that, she's become very popular on Twitter because she is evidently new as the operation officer, and she has no idea what the history of Mexi is, making statements like Mexi never paid, we never got paid for a Kaspa listing, which is factually incorrect because Kaspa did pay for the Mexi listing. Either way, then Binance has been a war against the exchanges, and KRI stated here, just a reminder that the energy industry is pretty good at building wholesale commodity exchanges. So they compete with Binance, therefore. Once the tokenization of our industry's assets and commodities is underway, and we will see what happens with the quaint legacy crypto exchanges. Tokens backed by real multi-billion assets that actually have utility and generate revenue for decades, and you can even see a kind of a flow chart in regards to what that kind of like how it plans out, what it looks like right here as well. So I'm going to play again, not the whole thing, because as I mentioned on Saturday, it was like 17 minutes or so. 17 minutes of just pure information from the KRI from Rory O'Neill. We'll play the first 3 minutes that we did last time. We'll talk about it more this time around as well. Very, very important, because We're going to talk more in regards to what Roy O'Neill said when he spoke about these institutions wanted to buy Kaspa. Just for reference, one of the institutions, which I haven't even properly considered until now, is State Grid, who is consistently top 2, top 3 on the Fortune 500 companies. It's huge. So listen very closely here to Roy O'Neill. Oh, it would be great if it just played, wouldn't it? Okay, let me try again, shall I? Let me try again. Let me get to the right timestamp, I think of 32, and go from there. Ready? Okay, here's good enough. There you go. Let's listen now.
Yeah, well, I saw the post about an hour ago and was just pondering it. It's quite late here in Dubai. We had a very successful day where we spent a lot of time talking about Kaspa with very serious people. You know, we're talking about CFOs of major banks and chairman of banks, CEOs of companies you will all have heard of. And there's a lot of excitement about Kaspa because we're presenting it in a completely different way to everything else. And what I'd just like to do is just remind everybody why KII chose Kaspa and why it matters and why we support Jonathan's reminder that crypto's purpose is freedom grounded in proof. And I suppose at KI we extend that principle into the energy economy. So we chose Kaspa very carefully. We waited 10 years before we found something that actually met all of the criteria that we wanted and needed. And we chose Kaspa because it operates like a generational utility layer. It is literally a brand new utility layer. It's open, it's neutral, it's auditable, it's fast enough to underpin real markets. And compared to the alternatives, after speaking to about 30 or 40 people today, just me personally, and the rest of our group spoke to probably just about as many people. It's unbelievable how Kaspa has resonated with business leaders in a way that we haven't seen before, because it delivers what they need in terms of reliability, transparency, and performance without sacrificing any first principles. And it really, the whole total decentralization, fair launch, all of those those principles and superlatives, it resonates very strongly with them. And one of the biggest questions we had is of those 30 people, almost all of them asked, where do we buy Caspa?
That in itself is insane. Insane, knowing that KRI have been searching for a solution to or a perfect fit to the projects and the protocols they wanted to build with their industry clients. They found Kaspa after 10 years of searching, perceived to be the best possible alternative. And then you've got their partners, which you can look through some of them. I spoke about a number of them. You got Eon Energy is one that I'm very well versed with. A very big company, and I'm sure there are many here that I haven't named, but also are pretty big. You have Siemens Energy as well, also being very big there. You've got Zeta, you got Hydrogen Europe, United Nations Industrial Development Organization. You have funded by the European Union, MedGem, and you've got many more. You've got PwC, you got Shell, DHL, Hyundai, Bosch. One that I have never spoke on, which is a disservice to you lot watching, unless you've done your research personally, is State Grid. State Grid Corporation of China, SGCC. Huge company. From what I have read, they on average they never seem to drop out of the top 3 of the Fortune 500 companies. Apparently last year, the reported revenue, or the reported revenue used was around $546 billion, which is absolutely nuts. So they are consistently a top three company, often ranked number two and number three, so behind Walmart and Amazon, or Walmart and Aramco. So, but they are like always up there, and they are a platinum sponsor no less, of DRI, and that therefore means KII, which is absolutely huge news. They're the type of people who are at this event listening in and hearing about Kaspa. C4 agenda has already been and done now, happened 3 days ago. But you can see, go down to session 7 here, Kaspa blockchain technology. Roy O'Neill spoke to these sort of institutions about Kaspa, people like literally the biggest companies there are in the world. And they are all very bullish and wanted to buy Kaspa. And they're telling, KI and Roy O'Neill's telling them, go to Kraken, because Kraken are a great exchange, they list it for free, yada yada. This is the sort of opportunity that exchanges are missing out on. Binance missing out on, because imagine being told, imagine knowing you've got Fortune 500 companies, the top companies in the world, who are asking, where can I buy Kaspa? You could have said, yeah, you can go to Binance, the biggest, most trusted, the biggest exchange in the world. But no, because they are still, to this day, they are asking for what, 3% of the supply. It's it's ridiculous. After 2 years still, they're still doing that. KI have been bullish on Kappa for a very long time, and this is not news to us. It's not news to us, although we are seemingly finding out more and more mass information continuously. I haven't even covered the biggest insights from that Wolfie roundtable. So you haven't listened to that Wolfie AMA, definitely do so. 6th of November. Definitely recommend watching and listening in, because it was huge. I'll be making a video on it later on, but it was huge. Absolutely huge stuff. But Christian Ludwig made a post about this, a year ago now, talking about the KRI. I enjoyed the interview with the KRI. The highlights being they have a number of global projects that require a DLT solution at scale, and they've been needing it for years. We heard from Roy O'Neill now 10 years. They need censorship resistance in order to do it on a global basis. Nothing can do that because everything is centralized, in control. Kaspa is truly decentralized, and with vProd coming out, will end up being truly self-sovereign as well. Plus, the Dagonite being scalable latency is going to be the perfect solution for everything that KRI and their institutional clients and what they need. Kaspa apparently, based on what they believe, could disrupt the emissions trading market, so tap into that market, which is meant to be valued at $2 trillion by 2030. It's ridiculous how early we are, how significant this space is going to grow, and how Kaspa is going to be an integral part. But that's why I'm still not worried about Kaspa's price action, because I know that our institutions and the community of us unbelievably convicted, knowing that this is the true form of money. And then you've got institutions that, while they haven't affected the price per se, because there's not enough to really go on yet. They haven't built the projects just yet. They haven't got the layer one for Kaspa properly built just yet. You have the institutions who are still taking notice of Kaspa right now. And then you think about Marathon mining Kaspa, that means BlackRock also looking in. It's not a matter of if, again, for me, not a matter of when. When all this takes off, Kaspa is going to jump leaps and bounds in regards to adoption. That will correlate to price action. You've got so much coming through. Top 5 biggest enterprise application for Kaspa is energy, supply chain, public sector, cross-border payments, settlement of contract in the financial industry. These, and this is off the back of it was an AMA with Wolf Web 3 actually, that I've spoke about numerous times already, where Roy O'Neill stated that he had spoke to a friend of his who's a digital asset manager across a major financial institution who manages 20 to 40 trillion of customer assets a year, and they are currently doing 95% of their settlements on Ethereum. And he told them, if you were to migrate onto Kaspa just on the gas fees alone, let alone the actual cost of transaction, the speed in itself would save you a lot of money as well, because time is money. But the cost of transaction alone, the gas fees, you spend tens of millions per year. Ridiculously, it's insane stuff. And this is again why Kaspa, while early, for me, not financial advice, but for me, it's inevitable it's going to do very, very well going forward. Vehicles again being a big part. we saw how, they spoke about how these industries know how to make exchanges as well. VPOGs also will make these sort of exchanges potentially irrelevant. I posted this yesterday as well. At this point in time, the Kaspa community, I think a lot of Caspians need to understand something critical. Shout out to Water Dipped Oreo who made this post. I'm assuming through a Reddit post here. VPOGs, for short for verified programs, are not just another technical upgrade. They are an architectural shift that will redefine Kaspa's position in the entire crypto landscape. And this isn't speculation. Some Polynsky himself have already started developing it. On Ethereum, every app builds its own small kingdom. Each one usually launches its own token, pulls its own liquidity, and sometimes moves to a separate layer 2 chain that fragments everything. Value gets divided across thousands of tokens, and Ethereum itself only captures a small portion of the total network worth. Kaspa VPOGs flip that logic completely. Every application runs on its own contained environment, but still sits directly on the Kaspa layer 1. There are no bridges, no rollups, no separate sidechains. Every interaction, every transaction, every smart contract uses Kaspa as the fuel. That means all economic activity across every app directly strengthens one unified economy, which is Kaspa's. Which Kaspa has near zero gas fees. We've seen that. If you look at the top addresses right now, when I can get back to it. And you look at and you see Wallet 1 again, scoop up more Kaspa, another 2, almost 3 million Kaspa, no surprise there. Again, coming from Gate, but you look at the transaction, you can see 1 second, 0.0007 Kaspa. If you're going to do the math right now, get the calculator up. I'm doing 0.007 Kaspa. That's how much it cost in regards to how much Kaspa, and look at the value of Kaspa right now. So the value of Kaspa is at 0.050 times 0.053. So that's how much it costs there. That's how much money it costs for them to send. Well, total transaction value actually was 21 million. So $1.1 million, $1.1 million, and it cost them, nowhere, like $0.0000386. That's ridiculous. So near zero fees. Instant transaction functionality goes 1 second. It took all place in 1 second. And easy migration with these, VPOGs and also ZK EVMs. Easy migration for Ethereum apps that can easily migrate over to Kaspa. It's absolutely insane. And this is, again, this sort of economy that's being built, it's going to end up allowing everything to just stay within the Kaspa ecosystem going forward. And it would make Binance irrelevant unless they came on top of Kaspa. Now, some slightly different but equally Kaspa-related news. We are seeing that Kaspa is getting some interesting updates. Shout out to Lens for either building this or highlighting this. I think he's building this though. He's building an order book heat map, so you could actually find out, in regards to where the zones are. Again, it's not the most reliable indicator in the world, but it's also a good indication of seeing where on exchanges the current buy and sell volume is. As you can see, if you're looking at this right now, it's still coming along very well. It's currently got fully implemented and full sync with 2 exchanges right now. But as it looks like right now, the so-called sell walls and buy walls, there seems to be a big one here at around 0.53. Another one is here around 0.052. So 5.3 cents, 5.2 cents, 5.25 cents even. Obviously, there's a lot where we're at right now. And equally, there's some support zones a little lower down at 5 cents, 5.05 cents. So it's just a good, again, this is something I'm glad to see being built in the general consensus. We also have heard apparently from this individual, I'm not sure the legitimacy of his role. Apparently he works alongside the KEF, but I cannot validate that. But apparently he's working with them to have a new exchange listing this month, which would be quite big if true. Although it depends who it is. KEF, their last listing, they helped Kaspa Yeah, it was Whitebit Exchange, I believe it was. I think, were somewhat involved in the Kraken listing as well. So it's also good. But I think the most recent one was Whitebit. So, I mean, my belief, the biggest exchange that they could probably get in contact with and get a listing for, based on the connections and the talks I've been hearing of, would either be HTX or Huobi Global. OKX, or that was a lot more unlikely in my belief. Maybe Crypto.com, but equally with them having Crow, I'm not so sure they do that either. The Kronos blockchain, I don't think they do that. So maybe it's Huobi Global, HTX. Of course, you could always consider Binance and Coinbase, but I doubt it. I doubt it, unless the KF have pulled together 2% of capital supply to give it to them, but I don't think they have that capital. I don't think ICE would ever have that much of capital supply to give to KF to give to Binance. And even then, I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want, at this point, after this long, I wouldn't want capital to pay for Binance listing. I think it would be good short-term price action, but more detrimental to the longevity of Kaspa, with Binance proven to be manipulated the price for cryptos. And then we also got this other update as well coming out quite soon as well. Dimensions is going to be onboarding Kaspa very, very soon. They've got a whole article forum about that here, which I will also link in my Discord community. So again, if you haven't checked it out, check out the free Discord community link down below in the description, and also on my homepage here as well. Chill chat, learn more about crypto and Kaspa. And alongside, yes, you can learn a lot more information. Like when I spoke about this CG stuff earlier, you know, the documentation you see here, like this report from McKinsey & Company, this report from KPMG, and a lot more in-depth analysis than you just see on Twitter. And equally, this interview, which this one is public and easy to access if you know where to go. But if you look at the interview, 82 views in 3 weeks. People aren't paying attention. And that's something that I'm trying to do, help people pay attention, trying to find the information, the interviews, the sources that people aren't aware of. In this interview, Standard Chartered, Jeffrey Kendrick talked about how there's going to be some big catalysts taking place in 2026. Next 6 to 9 months, institutional money will get regulatory clarity for DeFi. Information like this, a lot more in regards to trade alerts and everything else you can find in the VIP links on my homepage here or down in the description as well on Twitter. In Twitter here or down in the description. You can join 7-day free trials, or you can equally get a 1-month free trial through BYDFI, the affiliate exchange we're working with, no KYC, no VPN, a regulated exchange. We do weekly live streams every Sunday or Monday. We're going to upload the one from earlier today, to the channel, so you can watch that and see what we spoke about today, which was quite big. I believe, if I quickly double check, it was talking on where my PC wants to load, of course. It was talking about the government shutdown coming to an end, and also what assets are likely going to be leading this next leg of the bull run. If we do break over 116k Bitcoin, of course, that's currently the zone I'm still looking out for. So you can find out more. You should tune into the VIP, because you're for free, so you can find out that you sign up for free. If you like what you see, then you can sign up for longer. To do that, trade alerts. Again, we've got 2 traders in there now, educational content, and much more in there. All links down below in the description. So go check that out. Now, to quickly get into some more questions. Luck can also be bad while unprepared for an opportunity. Exactly, completely right. Any question notes? I still regularly watch CG Shorts, calling cap at $10. I mean, yeah. I mean, he's still going to say it, right? I'm going to die on that horse by that point. Crypto Cruz released another great video. Crypto Punch You, My Millionaire Journey, Kappa Silver. You're all excellent YouTuber ambassadors. I appreciate you, DD, and I thank you very much for the inclusion in that. I do agree on all of those legends in the space. Crypto Cruz doing fantastic recently as well, so shout out to him. Everyone else, really, actually, everyone's done fantastic in that list. Respect for your conviction, which you share thoughtfully and calmly without being arrogant. I mean, I try. Oh, okay. PG's not a big fan of the other ones. KS is solid, the others no. That means me as well then. I'm not solid then. When you go to the doctor for a diagnosis, do you only listen to one doctor? Yeah, no, I think that's fair, Double D. I think that's fair. Thoughts on Nacho? The biggest KRC20 is going to probably do very well in Kaspa Valleys. It's very deeply integrated into the entire Kaspa community and the ecosystem. So Nacho is one that I think will do well when Kaspa starts doing well. Welcome back, Buffalo Theory, bro. You're doing very, very well, man. New England. It's been a minute, brother. I hope you're doing very, very well. We are about to see the largest surge in capital price that we've ever seen. I sure hope so. I sure hope so. Good evening, Hanny. Welcome back. Stack as much as you can this coming year. VBox Dagonite come around July. We believe so. We can't guarantee that. We heard from Son Polinsky's AI bot Terra that they believe the timeline to be around 9 months, which is 8 months now, so putting it around late Q2, early Q3 2026. However, remember Son Polinsky also wanted the team to come together to release the Rust virtual machine last week. That didn't happen to my knowledge. They're reinventing the wheel. It's unpredictable how long it's going to take. I hope it comes out as soon as that, but I mean, I can't ignore the fact of what Escape City said, which I think is pretty fair, that someone who's actually a web developer is like, if they're trying to do this, it's not going to be easy. You know, it's going to take them probably years to do that. I hope not. But I mean, 10 BPS took them a long time. They've been working on VBooks for quite some time, seemingly, but they've still only got one yellow paper out right now. So they need to get more information out. So we'll find out more, but hopefully July will be happening. And yes, once it happens, definitely 90% of all cryptos will be relevant, or they'll move over to use Kaspa Rails. I hope so. I believe so. And they should do, otherwise they could become redundant. There's going to be a crypto crash, and you have to either adapt. The same thing for fiat and finance. There's a crash, there's a collapse going on right now. They're switching to digital to survive. But banks that don't switch digital, banks that don't migrate to us 2022 this month, they will end up going under. Same thing you can say for Kaspa. I know, Crypto. I know you don't like Zipec. Has anyone heard of Nacho potentially getting a Kraken listing? There was some talk about that a very, very long time back. I believe it was again the premise of price action. What's does better? I haven't heard much more since. I could go and find out, but I just haven't. My mind's not been too much on the KRCs because, you know, inherently Kaspa matters more, and then these will benefit from it, you know. But it could be coming soon, I'm sure. Round V Prox Dagonite is my hope. Maybe that's a catalyst, who knows? This is a long game, 100 billion mark out over the next 2 years, $1 trillion over the next 10 years. You young guys think a long term. Yeah, I mean, long term is the best way to think, you know, for the so-called guaranteed wealth, so to speak. Yeah, you want to be thinking long term. You want to be thinking for the long term. You can always go into crypto casinos, follow the pump and dumps. It's perfectly fine. I mean, I've made money that way. I'm not against it, but the amount of stress I tend to go under as well. It can be fun, but it's stressful going through these very highly volatile, going in for 2 minutes, getting back out quickly, you know, future tradings, whatever that may be. I enjoy it, but sometimes I just want to take the cool approach of like, just leave it for 10 years or whatever. It'll come back. And even then, some of them not even be that long. I don't think Kaspa is a multi-year investment. But it still could do very well in the coming months. Or in the premise that the cycle is extended, which it doesn't look like it is. You see the macro liquidity come back in. You see the catalyst of Kaspa come back as well in terms of adoption and listings and whatnot. VPOX, Dagonite, these things can definitely start triggering some more belief in Kaspa. I wouldn't say FOMO price action because those are building blocks. The only thing that will cause FOMO price action is the listing, namely Binance. But who knows when they're going to do that at this point? I'm not really even thinking on a Binance listing anymore. It will happen whenever they care. Look, when preparation meets opportunity. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, just leave it at, I'm just going to say yes, that's what I'm going to say. Before we said before Kaspa may be the bear market coin. It was launched at the peak of 2021 Bitcoin. There's no coincidence. I mean, in the premise of this, and yeah, if Kaspa's a bear market coin, then if we're on the cusp of going to a bear market in the next few months, then Kaspa is about to go through a bull market, if that is true. But I'm not so convinced. We haven't got enough data on it. I love the way Rory talks about Kaspa, who needs Viagra with all that sexy stuttering. Oh, leave Rory alone, man. I do it myself, man. I agree. I agree. But yeah, I love it. Rory's got such a. I mean, again, it's one of those like someone who's evidently in these inner circles. He knows what he's talking about. He's with the right people. He knows how to present to people as well, get their attention. I'm going to thoroughly enjoy listening to the next leaks he gives, while also making the video tomorrow regarding. Tomorrow's going to be about KRI, and then the following will probably be about Binance or Polinsky, and then we'll see where it goes from then. Welcome back, Ghosty Bro. You're doing very, very well. On radio mode, doing the graveyard shifts again. Hey, keep that going up, brother. Love to hear it. Sup, man? My landlady has brought me handcuffs. She said no more free time hanging out with your friends. I already managed to get my mom to watch this live and convince her of the latest British news. Getting desperate, Jay. She's getting angry. I have to get rich and marry her. Otherwise, I'm forced to crawl back to my ex's mum basement. That sounds like a horror story, Lieutenant. I think you sell out to Hollywood, you make $1 million, brother. I get it. It's tough. Reassuring news. We should be seeing the end of the government shutdown in the next, hopefully, I've heard Thursday. We'll have to wait and see. And the government shutdown could be a catalyst for reassuring momentum coming forward, and that will hopefully benefit Kaspa. We have to wait and see. Time will tell, indeed. But with that being said, family, that will conclude today's Kaspa crypto live stream. If you enjoyed, family, leave a like, share with your friends, subscribe for more. Check out the socials, Twitter, subscribe to the channel. Check out the Discord community and equally the VIP to learn a lot more in-depth analysis on what's happening in this community, in this market, how to get ahead of retail, learning what's going to be the next narratives to pump. Despite what CG said about narrative being hard to predict, we have found information that suggests the next narratives, what they're going to be, and where we're going to be going from here as well. So to find out more, again, check out the VIP, links down below in the description. Any news on China's tariff deal? Nothing more as of yet. I'm sure we'll hear more. It was good from what I heard last, but we'll have to wait and see where it comes from then. But anyways, family, that being said, have a great day, good evening, and good night, and I will see you all in the next one. The room's going to still change though, so stay tuned to all the room.